Okay, so now the last thing we're going to do before we put our mat together are the prairie points. Prairie points are just a great little accent and embellishment that have been around for generations, and so we're going to show you how to do those. To make the prairie point, I'm starting out with a 2.5-inch square. Now you can use any size square that you want, and we'll kind of talk about that in just a second. I'm going to show you 3 ways to make a prairie point, and the first one is we're just going to use our iron, our pressing mat, cutting out our square. The first one we're going to we're going to fold raw edges together to make a rectangle, and I like to press as we go. So again, this is kind of a nice use for a little travel iron. And then we're going to take that folded edge, we're going to take each corner and fold it down. I'm going to kind of finger press it into place so it'll stay. And so this kind of gets a little tricky because I'm holding the whole thing together before I can bring the iron down. And again, I'm just going to press this down just to get that set. Now, one thing I do want to mention is I like to make sure that I give these a little bit of starch. That helps them hold their shape. And then sometimes for good measure, I'll just turn it over and press it on the other side. Just makes it a lot more easy to manage when you're done. Okay, so that's one prairie point. Now, one thing I like about this prairie point is that, let me turn it this way so you can see it. The one side has 2 folded sides that meet in the middle, and then there's a fold on either side. And this is a great look. Or you can turn it over and you can have a nice flat surface of fabric with the folded edges. So this one I'll actually use both ways. So the next prairie point, we're going to take our square of fabric. Actually, let's get a different color. So we're going to take our square of fabric and we're going to fold it point to point to make a triangle. And again, we're going to give this a press. And then we're just going to fold that triangle over again. And then give that a press. Now, this one has 2 folded sides and then just 1 fold on the other side. And that's a really cute look too. What I noticed is when I put this on a baby quilt, babies like to stick their finger in that little fold, and kind of a fun little thing to play with. Okay, now the third one. Now this is one I've just learned, and so we'll see how I do on this one. An origami expert showed me this one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold point to point again to make a triangle. This is basically just making like a marking point. Then we're going to fold it the other way, point to point, and press that down, press the other side down. So what this is doing is creating a placement line so we can, let me turn it this way so you can see. We're going to fold it one side in this way, and then we fold. See how it's just almost doing it by itself, and then it's folding this one in this way. Isn't that neat? So now you have a prairie point that actually has a double fold on this side and a double fold on that side. And then when it's done, you're going to bring in and touch that down with the iron. I did it. And so can you. So that was really fun and really easy. So you're going to continue to make the rest of your prairie points. One thing I want to point out, like I said, we used a 2.5-inch square to make our prairie points today. And when I use a 2.5-inch square, then I have 2.5 inches of raw edge. If I used a 3-inch square, I would have 3 inches of raw edge. That measurement is just going to help you to be able to decide how many prairie points you want to put in case you're putting them all the way across the edge of your quilt, or just how many you want to make if you're measuring your quilt and deciding how many prairie points you're going to need. So now we have created all the parts for our sewing machine mat, and we're going to put it together.